Have you ever felt like something unseen is happening around you? As if people are watching you, evaluating every word you speak, every action you take. Have you noticed the strange intensity of their glances, the subtle ways in which your patience is tested, or the challenges that seem to shake your faith? Perhaps you've asked yourself, why is this happening to me? It may feel uncomfortable, like you're living under a spotlight, your every move scrutinized. But what if I told you this isn't by chance? What if these observations, these tests, are actually an integral part of your divine journey, crafted by God for a higher purpose? In this reflection, I invite you to join me as we explore why you are being watched, why these challenges come your way, and how everything you're experiencing is connected to a greater calling. The perspective you gain today may profoundly change the way you view your life, your mission, and your relationship with God. You were chosen for a greater purpose. If you are reading this, know this: you were chosen. You are not here by accident. Your life is part of a divine plan that is unfolding, one that may not always make sense in the moment, but is guided by a loving and purposeful Creator. There is something extraordinary about you, a light that others can sense, even if you haven't fully recognized it yourself. This light is the reflection of God's presence within you. That is why people around you watch you closely. They observe your every move, scrutinize your words, and sometimes challenge you in ways that test your patience and faith. These people might not know it, but they are drawn to the unique light that God has placed in you, a light that will shine through your actions, words, and even your responses to trials. In 1 Peter 2 verse 9, we are reminded of the truth: but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. You are called not just to live for yourself, but to be a vessel of God's greatness, a beacon to the world. The fact that others are watching you is not a sign of something wrong, rather, it is a confirmation that God has a greater plan for your life. These tests and trials you face are part of God's process of refining and shaping you into the person He has called you to be. Trials as part of God's refining process. Imagine for a moment that you are a rare gem. For that gem to shine its brightest, it must first go through a process of being cut and shaped, enduring the pressure and heat needed to bring out its full brilliance. You, too, are being shaped by God's hand. Every challenge you face, every time you feel observed or judged, is part of this process of refining. These moments are not meant to break you, but to shape you, to make you stronger in your faith, and to prepare you for the greater purpose that God has ordained for your life. James 1 verse 2-4 encourages us to see trials through the lens of faith. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. The pressure you feel, the scrutiny you face, is not a punishment but a gift, a way for God to perfect your character and prepare you for the great things He has in store for you. Just like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, the trials you face may seem uncomfortable, even painful at first. But they are strengthening you, preparing you to soar. Each glance, each test, is an opportunity to prove to yourself and to the world that you are not only capable of overcoming challenges, but that you are being made stronger by them. You are not just enduring these moments, you are being refined, like gold being purified in the fire, carrying the light of God's presence. But why are others watching you so intently? It's not merely curiosity, it's because they sense something in you that they can't explain. The light that God has placed within you shines brightly in a world that often dwells in darkness. That light can be unsettling to those who are not yet willing to embrace the truth of God. However, that same light is a beacon of hope to those who are seeking something greater in life. Matthew 5 verse 14-16 reminds us, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Your presence, your actions, your faith, and your ability to persevere in difficult circumstances are all reflections of God's light within you. That is why others observe you. They are witnessing the power of God at work in your life, whether they fully understand it or not. Carrying God's light is not without its burdens. The light you carry can sometimes draw negative attention, provoke jealousy, or cause others to question you. But this is not a sign of failure, rather, it is a sign of your divine calling. When people observe you, they are witnessing not just your strength but God's power working through you. You are not meant to hide your light or to shrink back. Instead, you are called to let your light shine brightly, regardless of the challenges you may face. The burden and blessing of being watched. At times, the pressure of being watched can feel overwhelming. You may wonder, why does it feel like everyone is judging me, or why does it seem like no one truly understands me? These feelings of isolation and scrutiny can be painful, but they are not signs that you are doing something wrong. Instead, they are signs that you are on the right path, fulfilling the divine mission that God has set before you. In John 15, verse 18 to 20, Jesus warned his disciples, "If the world hates you, know that it has hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own, but because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you." As a follower of Christ, you will face opposition. The world will not always understand you or your faith. The trials you face, the people who watch you, and the challenges that come your way are all part of the cost of discipleship. But remember, you are not alone in this journey. Jesus himself faced the same scrutiny, and he has promised to be with you through every trial and every challenge. Finding strength in God's promise. As you continue to face these moments of observation and testing, remember that you are never alone. God is with you, walking beside you every step of the way. His purpose for your life is greater than anything you can imagine, and he is equipping you to fulfill it. Each trial you endure, each time you rise above the judgments and provocations, is a testament to God's power working in you. Isaiah 41 verse 10 offers a beautiful reminder, "Fear not, for I am with you, be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You do not face these challenges alone. God is strengthening you, helping you, and upholding you through it all. His plans for your life are far greater than any temporary discomfort or trial. So when you feel the weight of those gazes, those judgments, remember that they are not signs of failure, they are signs of your divine calling. You are being tested because you are strong enough to endure. You are being watched because you are carrying a light that the world needs to see. Conclusion: embrace your purpose. In the end, all the glances, the tests, the provocations, and the moments of isolation are part of God's plan to shape you into the person he has called you to be. These moments are not obstacles but opportunities to shine, to grow, and to demonstrate the strength that God has placed within you. You were chosen for such a time as this. The world may watch, but it is God who is guiding you. Trust in his plan, stand firm in your faith, and let your light shine before all. As you walk this path, remember that you are not just enduring the trials, you are overcoming them with God's strength and grace. And in doing so, you are becoming the person he created you to be, a shining example of his love, power, and faithfulness. Embrace the journey, for it is leading you to something greater than you can even imagine. The power of being observed, a spiritual reflection on divine purpose and faith. As you walk along your journey in life, have you ever felt a subtle yet unmistakable presence, like eyes upon you, studying your every move? Perhaps you've sensed that in a room full of people, there are gazes lingering on you, as though some unseen force draws them in. You might even notice their eyes shift away quickly when you meet their stare, as if they've been caught in the act. This, my friend, is not a coincidence. It is a sign, a quiet, powerful indication that you are being observed. From a spiritual perspective, this observation is not merely a physical act, it is a reflection of something deeper, something divinely ordained. As a follower of Christ, you must understand that your presence carries weight. It's a divine light within you that others, often without understanding why, cannot help but notice. In the book of Matthew, Jesus tells us, "You are the light of the world." A town built on a hill cannot be hidden, Matthew 5 verse 14. Just as a lamp is placed on a stand to give light to all in the house, your life, shaped by God's calling, is meant to shine before others. Your light, fueled by the Holy Spirit, attracts attention, whether you seek it or not. And this light, which illuminates your path and the lives of those around you, cannot go unnoticed. The reality is, as you step into your God-given purpose, you will inevitably become the object of others' curiosity and scrutiny. But this is not something to fear. Rather, it is a testament to the greatness of your calling. You might find yourself in a moment where you suddenly become aware of someone's lingering gaze. It may feel uncomfortable or even unnerving, but take a moment to reflect. These glances are often not driven by malice, but by the recognition of something extraordinary within you. It is as though your spiritual energy calls forth a reaction. Something deep within them knows there is something different about you, something they cannot yet comprehend. In 1 Peter 2 verse 9 we are reminded, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light." This is a powerful affirmation of your identity in Christ. You are not just a person living on this earth, you are a chosen one, set apart for a purpose. The eyes that fall upon you are witnessing the unfolding of that divine purpose in your life. Whether consciously or unconsciously, people are drawn to the light of Christ within you. You may not always see it, but others sense it. And sometimes they'll ask questions that seem innocuous, yet are heavy with unspoken curiosity. And questions like, "How are you dealing with this?" or "Why did you choose this path?" While they may seem simple, these inquiries carry a deeper weight. The person asking may not realize it, but they are trying to decipher the strength, the peace, the resolve that comes from your unwavering faith in God. They are curious about how you handle the challenges life throws at you. They want to know what sustains you when everything around you is crumbling. They want to understand the source of your resilience. In John 15 verse 19, Jesus explains, "If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world." The questions and the scrutiny that you face are not necessarily because of who you are in the flesh, but because of who you are in Christ. You have been set apart, and that is a powerful distinction. Your actions, your way of carrying yourself, the choices you make, these all reveal God's presence in your life, often in ways that people can't quite explain but feel profoundly. At this point, it's important to remember that you do not need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation for the way you live or the choices you make, especially when those choices are guided by faith. You don't need to justify your calling to anyone. You are walking in God's purpose for your life, and that alone is enough. The Apostle Paul writes in Galatians 1 verse 10, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." Your mission is not to seek the approval of others, but to remain faithful to God's will for your life. As the eyes of others are upon you, recognize that it is not a sign of discomfort or invasion. It is, rather, a sign that your life is making an impact. You are living in such a way that others see something in you that stands out. Perhaps they don't understand it, but they feel it. Your strength, your peace, your unwavering trust in God's plan, these things are visible to those around you. Even when they don't have the words to express it, they sense that something divine is at work in you. In Philippians 2 verse 15, Paul encourages us to shine among them like stars in the sky as you navigate through life. Understand that you are a reflection of God's love, grace, and truth. And this shining light draws others in, even if they can't fully articulate why. You may not always be aware of it, but the impact of your presence in the world is far-reaching. Whether you see it or not, your life serves as a beacon, a reminder to others that there is a greater purpose, a greater hope, and a greater calling that transcends the struggles of this world. Now, you may be wondering, why does God allow us to be under such scrutiny? Why does He allow us to be analyzed, tested, and observed by others? The truth is, it's not to break you or cause you harm. Rather, it is to build your character and refine your faith. When others look at your life, they are not just witnessing your struggles, they are witnessing the strength that comes from God. They are witnessing your faith in action. And as you stand firm, you become an example of how God transforms lives. In James 1 verse 3-4, it says, "Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." The tests, the trials, and the observations are not meant to break you, they are meant to shape you. They are a part of God's divine plan for your life, and through them, you will become more like Christ. Each challenge, each test of faith, is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your trust in God and His perfect timing. You see, being observed is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of purpose. People do not invest their time in those who do not make a difference. When you are being watched, it is a validation of your calling. It is a reminder that you are walking in the path that God has set before you. The greater the scrutiny, the greater the mission. As you continue on your journey, embrace the scrutiny. Embrace the questions. Embrace the observation, for it is a reflection of the light that God has placed within you. It is a reminder that your life is a testimony to the power of God at work. Keep walking in faith, and remember, you are the light of the world. Matthew 5 verse 14. Shine brightly, for your purpose is great, and your light cannot be hidden. Dealing with observation and judgment is one of the most profound challenges faced by believers, yet it is also one of the most transformative. The Bible teaches us that trials and criticism are not random occurrences, but rather divinely orchestrated opportunities for growth. As James 1 verse 2-4 reminds us, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Through this lens, every moment of scrutiny becomes a chance to draw closer to God and to align ourselves more fully with His purpose. Criticism and judgment can sting, especially when they come from those who misunderstand or even oppose us. However, the believer knows that nothing happens outside of God's sovereign plan. He does not permit us to face trials beyond our capacity to endure. 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13. Instead, He uses these challenges to shape and prepare us for the greater works He has planned. When others observe or judge us, their intentions may vary. Some may seek to find fault, others may feel inspired, and still others may simply be drawn to something they cannot fully comprehend. It is not our role to manage their reactions. Rather, as Galatians 1 verse 10 states, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." God's purpose for your life is not to blend in, but to stand out as a light in the darkness. Matthew 5 verse 14-16 declares, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." This calling to shine often attracts attention, both positive and negative, because the light of Christ within us reveals the truth and challenges the status quo. Being observed, therefore, is a sign that your life is leaving an impact, and this is not a burden but a privilege. The tests of faith, such as provocation, isolation, and temptation, are not arbitrary but are divinely allowed to refine us. When faced with provocation, for instance, the enemy's goal is to unsettle our peace and cause us to deviate from God's path. Yet, Scripture teaches us the power of a calm and measured response. Proverbs 15 verse 1 affirms, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." Choosing silence or grace in the face of provocation not only protects our peace, but also demonstrates the depth of our spiritual maturity and connection to God. Isolation, too, can be a painful test, yet it is a profound invitation to deepen our relationship with the Lord. During times of loneliness, we often find ourselves turning to God for comfort and strength. Psalm 34 verse 18 assures us, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." What feels like rejection from others is often a period of preparation in God's presence, where He teaches us to rely solely on Him and not on the validation of the world. Perhaps the most insidious test is that of temptation. The enemy often disguises distractions as opportunities, appealing to our weaknesses in an attempt to derail us from God's purpose. Temptation is not merely a test of our willpower, but a revelation of our priorities and our commitment to God's plan. Jesus Himself faced temptation in the wilderness, and His response serves as our example. In Matthew 4 verse 10, He rebukes the enemy, saying, "Away from me, Satan. For it is written, worship the Lord your God, and serve Him only." When we resist temptation and cling to God's promises, we reaffirm our dedication to His mission for our lives. Each of these tests, provocation, isolation, and temptation, is interconnected, designed to strengthen our faith and resilience. They serve as reminders that our lives are part of a larger divine narrative. Romans 8 verse 28 provides reassurance, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. The trials we face are not obstacles but stepping stones toward the fulfillment of our destiny. As believers, we must recognize that the attention we attract is not a coincidence. Those who observe us are often drawn to the evidence of God's work in our lives. They see our ability to remain steadfast in adversity, our peace amidst provocation, and our integrity in the face of temptation. These qualities are not ours alone, but are manifestations of Christ within us. Philippians 4 verse 13 reminds us, "I can do all this through Him who gives me strength." By living faithfully, we become living testimonies of God's power and grace. It is natural to feel the weight of being observed and judged, but we must remember that this is a sign of the significance of our calling. God does not waste any moment of our lives. Even the trials that seem unbearable are part of His plan to prepare us for something greater. Isaiah 40 verse 31 encourages us, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." This promise sustains us as we navigate the challenges of being a chosen one. In conclusion, being observed, judged, or tested is not a random occurrence but a divine appointment. These moments are opportunities to demonstrate our faith, grow closer to God, and fulfill the purpose He has placed in our lives. As we face criticism, isolation, and temptation, let us remember that God is always with us, refining us and equipping us for the mission ahead. Our lives are not about pleasing others, but about glorifying God and shining His light in the world. Let us embrace the trials with joy and perseverance, trusting in the promise of Romans 5 verse 3-4. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseveractor, and character, hope. By remaining faithful, we become vessels of God's transformative power